Hey beautiful people, you're welcome to another tutorial by De-Radiance Headway Academy. Welcome. Alright, so in this video, what I'll be teaching you is how to make our scarfinator with a satellite. I don't know how to call it, but I know you've seen the headwear before. So these are the materials you're going to be using in this video. I'll introduce everything to you and the alternative that you can use instead of what I'll be using here. Alright guys, so let us get started. In this video, please don't fast forward anything. Watch everything in detail so that you can get everything step by step. Alright guys, but let me tell you first, before I continue this, the time to make this fascinator, this headwear is somehow long. So this video will be somehow long. I can't promise you, maybe too short, but I know it's going to be a little bit long, like the time. So please take time and watch everything. All right, guys. All right. Okay, so these are the materials we're going to be using. We need this satin fabric, door face satin, and I have 1.5 yard here, 1.5 yards. Okay, what are the other material that can be used for this design? You can make use of um rustic. You can make use of rustic for the design. You can even make use of any fabric. But rustic, I think rustic is better than using satin. I would advise you use rustic if you are working on your own. And this 1.5 yard I'm using, I just manage it. So it's better you have 2 yards. If you know how to manage, you can use 1 yard. I remember the one I made earlier. I made blue color. So this is only piece that you remain after cutting everything, and I don't waste any piece like this. Unless the edge that if you cut satin, the edge. That is the only thing I wasted. So if you know how to manage your fabric, your 1.5 is going to be okay for you. But if you don't know how to manage, please buy 2 yards. You also need your v-net. Buy 1 yard for the v-net. Your scissors, I'll be also using this. I'll be using one of it. I bought it 250. So you can just decide to use anything on your fabric, on your headwear. I'll be using this mineral wire or art wire. So the length, when we get there, we're going to understand how we're going to use it. Everything, just pay attention to everything, how the measurements, how you're going to go about everything. Just pay attention to it. We also be needing your hot glue. We need our hot glue. All right, so let us talk about the measurements of this thing. We have like 4 methods or 4 things to do on this headwear: the body of the turban, to make the body, the pleat, the design that will be on top, and the bow. All right, so let me just take it one after the other to explain the measurements, and we do what you want to do. So for the body of the turban, you can see what I wrote there. Just follow what I wrote, and you're going to understand better what I'm talking about. So for the body of the turban, I have 13 inches for the length. 13 inches for the length. You can use 14 or 15 depending on how you want it to be. 13 inches is okay for me. If you want it bigger than 13 inches, you can just use 14 to 15 inches. For the hair circumference side, I'm using 25 inches. 25 inches. So that is okay. You can use 24 or 25, just like what I wrote there. So what I said, you double the fabric. I double it. This is satin. It's very soft. If you are using rustic, you can make use of only one piece. You don't need to double it. Rustic is somehow thicker than this, and that is why 1.5 yard will be okay for you without managing it for rustic. But if you are using satin like this, it's better you buy 2 yards. And if you can manage 1 yard, you are good to go. All right, so let me set this aside. For the pleats that will be on top, okay, let me move to the band. This is a V-shaped band, and it's going to have a pleat. For the blue that I used 2 pleats. I made 2 pleats, so this would be more than 2 pleats, and that is what total the measurement I used earlier. All right, so the measurement I use here for the length, I use 15 inches. It is advisable to use 16 to 17 inches. It's because I'm managing my material. That's why I cut this 15 inches. 15 inches. And for the one that you're going to pleat, I have 14 inches because I want to form like 3 to 4 pleats. So if you are forming 2 pleats, 10 inches will be okay for you. If you are forming 2 pleats, 10 inches will be okay for you. Just note that. And if you are forming like what I want to do, just follow what I use here. All right, so the same apply to the second piece because this is a V shape. I use 15 inches by 15 inches. If your hair circumference size must be between 16 to 17 inches, unless you are managing material like mine. So, like me. So, I'm going to set this aside. This is the band. And move on to the pleat. The pleat is going to be a round pleat. And for this measurement, I use 50 inches. 50 inches for the length that we're going to pleat. You can use 50 to 60 inches depending on how you want it to be, how many you want to form, like how much you want to form your pleats. So 50 to 60 inches is okay and you can use more than that. And the length like this, the round length, I'm using 28 inches. I'm using 28 inches. So I fold it into two. I'm not going to explain this. Please listen to me. I'm not going to explain it again. I fold into two equal parts and I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and sew everything round. We only have three edges now. One end is closed. You don't need to sew the end that is closed. That is why you must cut your fabric long, like 50 inches or 60 inches long. And if your material is not up to that, you can join, but the way you will join, make sure you join it neatly. All right, so you fold it into two and sew all the three edges or all the three opening, and leave about 2 to 4 inches open so that you can turn your fabric out. When you turn it out, press it with your iron and you can go ahead to pleat. I'm not going to explain this again. I will do it and show you what I did. All right, so let us move on. First thing to do is to make the turban, make the cap or anyone. So I'm going to do that. First of all, I will start with the band. So just like I said, V-shaped band, and I will form it like this. This is the 15 inches, this is the length. So first of all, I'm going to hide the edges. This is a frame material. I need to hide the edges. I'm going to fold into two like this and hide the edges. The edge, I mean only one end, only one edge like this. Same apply to the second one. I use that notch to indicate where I'm going to hide because since the length is almost the same thing. So I'm going to hide it like that. I hope you understand. I will hide the only one end. You are not concerned with this other end. Leave it like that. Alright, so let me go ahead to do it and show you the next thing. Thank you. Alright now, so this is what we want to form. I have already formed one band. So remaining the other one. Alright, so just like I said, you hide the edge. And the first thing to do is to make a plate. First plate, and the first plate just about 1.5. That is how I did the first one, 1.5. So you take it to your sewing machine and sew. So when you want to sew, you sew on the one you first sewed. Just sew it 1.5. I'm not going to show you how I did it on my machine. Just listen to me and watch what I'm doing. So after you formed 1.5, okay, let me first go and do that. I've been doing this several times. If you have been following me or if you are into this for a long time, you should know what I'm doing. Okay, now so here is the first plate, just like I said, I've sewed it. So here's the first plate. The second plate, just take it like this and fold it on it. So when you fold it on it, you just leave about half inch, just like what I did. You fold it on it, and what you will fold in is like 1.5 1 inch, I mean, or almost 1.5 sha. Can you see what I fold in? You will see where it stop there. I'm taking my time to explain this just because of the new beginners that are with us or those people that don't really know how to do this. So I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and sew where it stopped there. If you touch it, you're going to see where it stopped. Make sure the pleats are equal, like the half inch. So after I sew that, I also fold another one, fold it on it to cover where I sewed, leave about half inch. The same thing to form the four pleats. You can see even without sewing it has already formed it. So I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and sew. All right now, so I've sewed it. You will see that they are the same thing from here to where I stop 2.5, from here to where I stop 2.5, and that is the perfect way to make this. So I'm going to overlap it like this, like I mean use it to form the V shape. So this point will stop here just like this. I overlap like 4 inches, 4.5 inches. So I'm going to, so I'll sew from here in a V shape form. So in a way that is going to sew the down part together with the top part. I believe you know how to do this, so I will not emphasize more on it like that. After joining the band together, cut out the hairstyle just like I'm doing and take it, fold into two, notch the center with your scissors. Then place it in between the body of the turban, the right side facing each other, and place it in between the body of the turban just like I'm doing, and sew straight. Just sew it straight just the way you are seeing. Alright, now so I've sewed it. So this place I use my hand to sew it because my sewing machine was not sewing it, and there's no light to use my industrial machine. So if your machine did not go on it, make sure you use your hand to sew it neatly, and you know it's inside, so it's going to be inside. Doesn't mean if that place is somehow rough. Now, I was saying that 15 inches is to be too short, maybe too short for your band. If you can use 15 inches, is okay. 15 to 16, 17 inches is okay. You can just cut out the excess. So my 15 inches was okay. I don't normally use 15. I use 16, 17. It's when my material is not enough. That is when I use 15 inches. Now the next thing to do is you leave the band area and you take it to your sewing machine. You sew like half inch. So, okay, before we sew, let us cut this. Fold it into two, and that is what I'm doing now. Just mirror your waist area like 4 inches like that, and you trim it up. So no, I'm not be using this thing. I'm used to that. I'm just going to trim it out, and if you look at it, it's about 4 inches. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to take it to my sewing machine. I've cut that. Take it to my sewing machine and sew like this, sew all the way round, leaving about 2 inches here to turn it outside. Alright, so I've turned it out and I secure this place where I turn it out, and the remaining part that I didn't sew I secure it, and I top stitch on top. You can see, so instead of ironing I top stitch, and I like the way I top stitch on it. So for the edge like this, I bone it, it's free, so we don't want it to be just doing yori there. So I use my lighter to on it is just to secure it from removing. Alright, so we're going to fold into two and sew. So if you want to sew, just leave about 3 inches away from the band. 3 inches away from the band, and from there we're going to sew and sew to the end here and do our running stitch on it. So this thing is going to have a band, going to have elastic band. Alright, so for the elastic band I will be using this 1 inch elastic. 1 inch elastic. I'm going to cut 3 inches. 3 inches. I've cut it, and that is what we're going to insert to our lining case. For the lining case I have 8 inches by 5.5, 8 inches by 5.5. First, let me just set this aside and sew this so that you can understand what we'll be doing later. So I've sewed this. I'm going to set this aside and move on to the lining case. Just like I said, we have 8 inches by 5.5. So at the 8 inches length like this, I'm going to secure the edge. I'm going to secure the edge, the two edges. Alright, so I've sewed it. I'm going to have like 6.5 inches remaining. So I'm going to fold this into two like this. I'll fold it into two and sew. I'll sew this. After sewing, I'll turn it out and insert the elastic band, sew it to the two edges just like this. The sewing side will face up, face me, so I'm going to sew it on it like that, and bring this one, bring the other one inside the other edge and sew it to the other end. So before I sew, I would love to secure the edge of this elastic. So I'll go ahead to sew now. I have it sewn now, so it's going to be like this. All right, so even with this raw stick you are using, raw stick also free, but it doesn't free like this, like this one. The satin is too much. That's why I don't like using satin, and it's not stretchy. Raw stick is stretchy, so for raw stick you don't need elastic. Though raw stick is not that stretchy like that, you still need elastic or handle. So this is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to measure this and get the 20 inches. So where 20 inches stop, like 10, where 10 stop, that is where I'm going to attach this. Let me look for something to mark it. So I've stopped, that is 10 inches. So I marked on the right side, and we're going to sew like this. So this side we face, just look at what I'm doing, please. I'm going to sew like this. I'll sew that and take the other one and sew it to this side. So it's going to be like this. I hope you understand. It's going to be like that. Okay, so I've sewed it to it. Can you see? So this now is going to size any adult. Like your head is small or your head is big. In as much your head is not smaller than 20 inches circumference. Alright. So what you're going to do now? Okay, you can just leave this like this, or you sew it to this side, or you sew it like that. Hope you understand. So after that, you do your running stitch, and we done with this one. So I'm going to do my running stitch and do whatever I want to do to this, and I'll set this aside to move on to the pleats. All right. Okay, now so we are just done with the first thing. So now let us move on to the second thing, which is the pleats that will be on top. So just like I said, I've sewed it the way I described and top stitch the for the three side, leaving only the closed part. So this closed part is going to be on top. And don't forget the measurement I used. I used 50 inches by 28 inches, 28 by 50 in fold. I folded it, I sewed. So just like I said, if you might want to, or you might want to ask that what is rustic? This is rustic. So this is rustic. It's 1.5 per yard rustic. And so if you are using rustic, you also need to do it the same way I did this. You need to double it too, unless you are padding. All right, so now I'm going to start like this. You also be needing your pegs. Where are my pegs? So okay, let me just use this for now so that this video will not be too long. So now I'm going to start from one end and fold. We are making pleats, so we're just folding like 1.5, not really up to 1.5, but more than 1 inch. Hope you can see it's really up to 1.5. So you can make your own 1.5 depending on how you can go about it. Just look at what I do, what I'm doing. So I'm just to fold it like this. Please look at what I'm doing. Just need to practice this. Not just assume that you know how to do it. You need to practice it because at times I don't really like the way it stressed me, you know. Alright, so I'm going to fold it till I reach the other end and hold it with my pegs. So I'll do that off camera, please. I need to focus on this. Like the plate, I need to focus on it because I don't really like that when my plate is bigger than each other. And if I am to record this video to be it will be too long, in which you don't want it to be. Okay, now so I read your plate very well. I went off the camera to do that because it is very necessary. How I take your needle and thread, double your thread inside your needle, and I just leave about 3 inches away from the edge, and I want to sew now. So when you're sewing, don't sew too tight, and you try to cuff it. If you have watched my sequence video, you know how I like to cuff the pleat so that you know where we're going to place it is not just straight, it's round. Now I'm going to sew So when I'm passing the thread through, the last pleat on top, I'm not going to come out from there. Is the next one I'm going to come out because I don't want anything to be obvious outside there. We can use our needle, our hot glue to do that, or I just pick it a little bit without coming out from the outside part. I hope you understand what I'm doing right there. So now I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back and make sure you arrange your plate. Don't let anything hid inside. Arrange it very well. So I'll go back like this. I might not come back the way where I went inside. See where I came back, I like come out. So it's going to be like this. That is how I'm going to arrange everything and sew everything. You could just also cut out your thread and move on to another place. You could cut out your thread and move on to another place. So I'm going to cut out the thread now so that I can move on to another place. So don't draw it too tight and don't make it too loose. Now we'll move on to the next place, maybe like this side. So that is how I'm going to do everything till I finish everything. And don't forget, try to cuff. Try to make cuff like this so that it won't affect your pleat when you place it on your turban. Alright, so as you move on, you're going to after now I've sewed this side first, sew that place. You arrange the mini plates like this. Just try to arrange them, pick them, be patient while you are doing it. So remember I said that last part we're not going to sew it, and make sure you fold it like this. You can see if I do not fold it now, that is how it's going to affect my pleat. So I'm going to fold it and I will sew. So let me go off the camera to arrange the pleat very well. What I'm just doing now is to sew it, just to pass the thread, the needle through it, and also bring out any hidden pleats. It is simple to make. If you make it twice, I believe it will be easy for you to do. Oh, forgotten. I've come out from the other end. Oh my goodness. So I'm just going to go very close to where I came out. Very close to where I came out. Hmm, I think it's still okay. You can see the other one that there is no any. It's very neat, but I'm going to manage that. Going to manage that. So don't make the sewing too tight. You can see how I release it, and I'll go in. Now I'm done forming the pleat. So I'm sorry if this video is too much. If the video is too long, I mean, just for you to understand it. If I skip any part, you will ask question, and there's no perfect way to explain how to make headwear than to show you videos. If I use my voice note is not going to be okay. If I use test, it's not going to be perfect. It's only video. So get the center of this plate and the center of the turban. We're going to be sewing, joining them together. So we're going to cover the last part on the turban, and the two pleats we are going to sew it together with this. Just look at what I'm doing. Oh my hand, yo. So I'm coming out from inside. So when inside, going very close to where I came out, like two times is okay. Two times is okay. So it's just going to be like this on it. I hope you see. So you can also put it on your mannequin to get the way you're going to sew. So now we'll secure it. I've gone two times. I'm going to secure it and move on to another place that I need to tack. Oh goodness. Now I'm moving on to the other side like this. So I'm doing the same thing. I don't want to use hot glue because that hot glue itself, it can just destroy someone's work if you're not careful. So I'm going to secure it just the way I secured the other one and move on. I'll do TV other side. So just tack it from here now and move on to this side, and that one will be close to the back. So I'll go ahead to do that all around, and I'm going to show you the next thing to work on. So before I do everything of the camera, let me show you this. So the at the back here, I follow the last pleat to place the pleat on it, the last pleat on the band to place the pleat on it. So the last at the edge here, bring it to the end. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Bring it to the end so that it can fall to the back. So you bring it to this end to tack it to it. Okay, you see. So for coming here like this, it will be in a curve method. What should I call it now? All right, I believe you know what I'm trying to do. Just like when you are making your autogiri, same way. And the same thing apply to the second hand. Yeah, this is how it's going to be after attaching it to the body of the turban. You see how beautiful it looks. So you can just use your hand to arrange the pleat very well. Just like I said, don't let your sewing to be too tight and not to be loose. Somehow, this my own is somehow loose. So I will know what to do to that, but it's still okay like this. I will know what to do. Maybe I'll use my hot glue to arrange it very well, to glue it. So you can see. All right, for the back, I said we should use 28. I'd advise we use 29. 29 will be much better than this because when you are pleating, the one part will be longer than each other, and that is what happened here. You see, so if it is too long, you can still cut it out. But now it's not too short, but it doesn't really give me what I want because I want it to be everything to join together. If it is 29, I can easily cut out the excess and bring them together, just like how I did the blue. Let me show you how I did the blue. Yeah, here is the blue. So this is the blue. I join it together. Now I'm going to use a piece of material to cover this side. This is where I cut out and I use my lighter to burn it. Okay, you see, it's very neat. I love it. That is how but I use 30 inches. I use 30 inches there. That is why I said, okay, it's better use 29 to 30 inches. Now let me just join this together. I'll use my needle and try to join it together like this. I'll join this side together like this. I hope you can see. So I'm not going to display that. I'm not going to record that. I'll just use my needle and try to join it. I can later cover it with a piece of material or leave it that way. Anyway, it pleases me. But let me just join this and we move on to the design that will be on top. All right now, so I'm going to cover this place. Just like I said, don't mind my thread. My date, so it's not going to affect it in any way since I'm still going to cover it. So the measurement you're going to cut out the picami, you just measure this like this, and where you want it to cover from here to where it stop here, just to cover that side. So that is what I got here, and I sew the edges, secure the edge and sew one end like this. I'm going to turn it out. So where I sewed will be inside, and this side, this close side, will be facing here like this. Please just look at what I'm doing now. I'm going to be Using my hot glue to attach this, just to cover the back side so that we have a neat work at the back. So I'm going to apply my glue on it, cover it like this, and go to the back. Though my own fabric doesn't reach each other, but notwithstanding, it's still going to cover where I want it to cover. So remember I said that close side will be by the side. So just apply my hot glue on it and use it to cover it. So thereafter I'm going to turn it inside, apply my hot glue and use it to cover. It's supposed to join each other, but since it doesn't join, we're going to use it like that. My power is taking the light, so so that this is better now. It is neat than just to leave it like that at the back.